starting right here on Canvas with the next notes on HTML links. We're going to be digesting how to make a link on a web page and the different attributes that go with links. So I'm starting right here on Canvas with notes on HTML link, and I'm classifying this as example problem 18. Understand I'm going to be going to the web resource. There's notes on links. That's where I'm going to be heading to do a lot of the logistics on the notes and how to make a link on code link. So again, on the flip term, you're going to have to be submitting example 18 to the Canvas right here. So I have module 7 open right now, already in the web resource page. As I scroll down, I'm looking to teardrop right here into the notes on links, which is example 18 simulation. Okay, I believe I have that tab already open, and so I'm getting there right now. Now, before we get started, what I'm going to ask you to do, and I have it spelled out kind of here, what I want you to do is I'm going to be asking you to follow my steps to kind of copy example 17, paste 17, rename it to 18. So we're going to continue building on example 17, but just creating another file. Okay, so and I kind of specify that up here at the top where work with 17, copy and paste the file and rename it to example 18. So those are steps I'm going to work with you right now as well. So if I go to my document folder, go into programming, again, we created a web development folder. I'm going in there. And at this particular time, as we move in this direction, you can see I have the test drive example 17 listed right here. So I'm going to not actually work with that file. I'm going to copy that file and then paste that file. And so now I have a duplicate of that file. So kind of like what we did with the test drive, and we copied and pasted the test drive and created 17. So now I'm going to go in here and make a subtle change to this file name by doing a rename. And I'm going to delete the word copy and the number 17 and simply type in 18. So now if I click away outside, I now have two files that are, for the most part, are identical, example 17 and 18, but I want to work with 18 in this approach. So if I flop myself back to the opening directions of working with the test drive web page, again, I give you those directions here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I get into how to open and get ourselves in a split screen part of trying to have the code in the browser open. So I'm simply going to do that right now also. So if I go back to the browser and I simply double click on example problem 18, you can see that opens up, and a note here that says example problem 17. We're going to be making subtle changes to the code to change that to 18 shortly, but I have that open. All right, I'm ready to now work with this file up the top here, example 18. If I go back to the code, and I'm then going to be taking this approach right here, which I kind of spell it out in terms of how to get the code open. I'm going to right click, open with, and then I'm going to be choosing Notepad, okay, as is this representation here. All right, so if I go to the code, excuse me, my folder, and I right click on example 18, and I scroll down and click on open with, and then I go open, I now have the code open that I want to work with. Okay, so I'm going to put that, I'm going to pull that down, and I push that to the left. All right, and then I'm going to go to the browser, ladies and gentlemen, which I'm currently working with this browser right here, and I'm going to pull this down and push that to the right. So now I have, again, a document that is in split screen. I'm working with the code, and I may very well throughout the time here, ladies and gentlemen, from time to time, and I think I have something here I'm going to delete. From time to time, we may find ourselves working with a document and then trying to maximize it, for example. So see our results. I quickly maximized it, and I hit the refresh button, see our results, and it's not hard to go back to the split screen. So back and forth. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to be talking about the flower box because now we're dealing with the file that's called 18, and I want to make a subtle change to this 17, and I'm going to, in the Firebox, this is a file we're dealing with example 18. So I backed out the number 7 and put an 8. Right here in the purpose, it says to test out HTML tags. I may want to physically move and add additional word to this. It said test out HTML. I'm going to add the word links because we're dealing with links, and I'm simply going to back out this cursor. So I added the word links tags to the purpose. Okay, so I am now going to go down to the title section, the title where we have your name. And if I go back to the notes real quick, and if I scroll down a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen, I do touch base on trying to make sure you guys have your Notepad and the icons resting right beside each other. But what I'm trying to do here, and if I scroll down below here, you can see I'm trying to get you guys to have the code right here, code nested as example problem 18. So we're going to make a subtle change to 18 as well. So if I simply bring this and screenshot this, or excuse me, split screen that, I'm taking that 17 and making changing it to 8. So I made a couple changes here. So I'm simply going to go File, Save. I'm going to go into the browser and refresh. And you should now see in my browser that I'm going to maximize what I'm working with, the test drive. It now says 18. So now I'm ready. I got my browser ready. It's been I did a copy and paste. I renamed it to 18. I went in the Firebox, changed that, and I changed it on the actual page too. So it's relevant to what we're working on here. Okay, so if I go back to the Notepad, the notes, and I'm flopping back and forth, and I'm actually I have the capability to zoom this back down, these codes, so I can see more of the text here. I'm just minimizing my code a little bit. So in this, it says moving below where we left off. Okay, so I'm giving you some sort of benchmark. And you can see we worked with this yesterday in terms of creating a lot of tags in here. And I want to put my I-beam right below the body tag, right in this area, right in here. So if I scroll down and giving you some sort of relevance, I am right in this area here. Okay, so I'm over in this area right below the code, and I'm going to hit return a couple times just to make sure I have enough space because I'm going to be entering in code in this area. So okay, so before we get started and doing some code copying and pasting and the making of the links. Okay, so I have the tag, the A tag here. We have the A tag that I need to review, and you can obviously see I've given you an image of a generic structure of what the A tag actually does. So we have two tags. We have an opening and close tag, opening and closed of the A tag. The A tag is referenced as an anchor. Okay, that's what the A stands for. Okay, an anchor. You can see my chart down here. The A is representing the anchor. Now, just supporting the A tag, a link's not going to work. There is a key component to an attribute, which is the href, and that is a hyper reference. Okay, so there's a lot of different attributes that we're going to get into, but this is the key one. And if you don't support the hyper reference and the actual link up to the file, the link's not going to work. And obviously, you need to have the right link and it's spelled right and the characters are right in the link to go to that anchor from one point to point A to point B, whether it's an internal link or an external link. The information that goes in between the A tag is the actual data that would show up or the text that will show up, and you can make an and you guys very well may have seen this, you can actually make an image a link, and we eventually may get to that to see that as well. So You can see here in this representation, there's a closing a tag. So long story short, I think it's a pretty easy structure to comprehend, but we have an opening a tag. We have the href, which stands for hyperreference. We need to have the equal sign. So this is an attribute. We need to have the proper file name, and it's got to be in quotes. And then whatever you type in the blue here, it's clearly up to you, okay? And then we have the closing a tag, okay? The ending an anchor of some sort. So in these notes today, in this test drive 18, I'm going to start off with external links. I'll then get into internal links, because we have some files already in our established in our web folder. I'll talk about an email link, and if we have time, I'll get into the page jump link and a page jump too, in terms of getting like up and down a page theoretically. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. I think I've already talked about changing example problem 18 within the title, so it reads that. And so this is where I'm going to be starting next. So we're going to start by looking at some link code and this first yellow box down here. And then once we copy and paste, I'm going to go back and we're going to tweak the code, add in some attributes. There's going to be a lot of save, refresh, chunk it, save, refresh, do a little bit at a time to see what changes that we're making. Okay, so over here on the right hand side, okay, right below the end of body of page is where I'm looking to paste. So I'm gonna copy. I'm asking you to copy this first yellow box that says external link. And understand, ladies and gentlemen, the external link is a link that is going away from your website. We have an internal link and we have an external link. Okay, so if I copy this right now and simply go ahead and come down and paste it. You notice I put a couple spaces in between that and I paste it in there. All right, before we try to tweak anything, let's simply just go ahead and file save what we've got, go over to the Notepad here and simply refresh. Okay, and so now you can see again our white table. I'm going to maximize this real quick. Our white box, our white table, the table has now also become bigger, and it's not taking on the same font size as we saw up above with these other links, because when we did the font last class, we closed the font of that right after extraordinary. So it's back to the generic font size. Now, let's go ahead and see if these links are working. And I know some of them are not. So I'm going to quickly right click over this and open new. And I'm probably going to have I'm having what I call a broken link, perhaps, but no, this one's working. So I'm going to close that one out. I'm going to go to Battlefield High School and see if that link is working. And it's good to test your link out. And so I load it up and see what happens. And yeah, this is a broken link. Why is this a broken link? Because this is an older, this used to be the web page for Battlefield a couple of years ago, and they switched that. So I'm simply going to close that out. And since we're working in a programming class, I'm just making a test to see if the programming links work, because those are I just gave you three generic web links. Okay, that programming link opens up. I'm simply going to close that. So I'm going to work with you right now to tackle, first of all, how do we fix a link, okay, and digest this a little bit in terms of the logistics on this, okay? So I'm going to go down these lines, and then we're going to try to indulge this. So I have a simple statement here that says there are external links that I'm learning about, all right? And so you can see them right down below here. They're visible. And that's just basically a statement. The P tag is giving me 2 returns. That's what's going on. Then we see something that, ladies and gentlemen, that says right here, this line right here, this whole line right here, not the P tag, but this whole line right here is dealing with this whole link, okay? The verbiage that is showing up here is actually the verbiage right here. So if I just wanted to maybe highlight this, just make a minor change and take out the verbiage of PWCS, I mean, Prince William County Schools, and just leave PWCS and save, you will see how the link over here will then change. And I took out Prince William County, the verbiage of Prince William County Schools, and now you just see PWCS. Okay, so what happens between the opening A tag, which I'll get to in a minute, and the closing A tag, that is inside there is what you see for the Prince William County School. Okay, the text, and you can type in almost anything you wanted to, but simply type in Prince William County, and I'm going to leave right there because there's another attribute we may try to do to enhance this. So again, like I may have alluded to earlier in the notes, we have an A tag. A is anchor. Okay, there's a space, and then we have the href. Okay, hyper reference, and actually I'm going to take this space back, but we have an equal sign. So the hyper reference is equal to what? Well, it's in quotes. Okay, that is the URL address for Prince William County Schools. It is. If we had somehow had a wrong, or we typed it in wrong, that link would not be working. But I'm giving that to you, and it is currently working. So again, what you see inside the Prince William County Schools is showing up. Then we have a closing A, simple, that we've, what comes first must go last. And then I've given you a simple P tag. Okay, so that is a clear, basic generic tag. If you click this link right here, and there's no attributes other than the hyper reference, and you need this hyper reference needs to be supported with this A tag. If you don't have the href, this link will not work. Okay, there's some of these HTML tags are supported of a hyper, or supported of attributes to be able to physically work, like I discussed with the font tag. Okay, so I'm going to proceed on. I then had a statement here. This link is and you can see Battlefield High School followed by P tag. Well, this link right here, this link we tested already, was not working. This is an old link. So I'm going to go back to the notes real quick, and I kind of talk about this. After testing the links above, you will see that Battlefield High School is a wrong or old website. So I've given you guys right here the link. So let's go ahead and copy this link. I mean, we can Google it and copy it off of a web page, which I very well might be asking you to do shortly. But I'm just simply asking you to copy that link, come over to where the Battlefield link was. I'm going to hit the backspace. Notice I'm going to keep the quotation marks, and then I'm going to Control V and paste it right in there. So these links right here, ladies and gentlemen, it should be the correct link. I'm going to clean this up a little bit because I like to have no spaces. Again, hyper reference equals, and then the web address. It should be working now. So let's make this test to see if it works. Let's go File, Save, go into the test drive. I'm going to maximize this screen. And folks, I'm not going to right click, just to show you that there's attributes that allow you to open up a new page. But if I simply click on this page right now, excuse me, I need to refresh this page. We need to save, refresh. And if I hover my mouse, you should be able to see the link, like the link show up in the bottom left-hand corner when you hover. Okay, it does show up there. So if I just click on this link right now, notice how my page went from my test drive page to the Battlefield High School. So now we are dealing with a clean and correct link that's not broken. All right. So if I come back and I'm just hitting the back button and putting myself back in split screens, we now have a functional Battlefield High School link that's working. Okay. The third link I had you copy and paste again. I say this link is and it's pretty long. You can see the long address for this programming, and it's working. We made the test, and we can see how we have the word programming showing up. And in this example too, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you guys verbiage after link. So here's a good representation where we have verbiage in front of the link. We have this link is we have a link After the A tag, you then see class. So if I maximize this notepad, you can see that a little bit better, that you can continue type in text to the right of a link, okay? An example of having a link in a sentence, okay? All right, so I then have a statement that says, here are my other links that I like. And before I proceed on, I'm going to hit return a couple times, because the next activity I'm going to be asking you guys to copy some more data in here. Okay, now we're going to try to do a little exploring and copy a external A tag, external link, paste it maybe two times, potentially three, and morph ourselves in creating our own maybe two links or something. Okay, I'm just going to go to, if you want to do like 3 links. All right, so you get in practice of creating a link right here and during this test drive 18, and these are external links. So for me, this is simplify things. I'm going to go up to this Prince William County. It's short and sweet. This Prince William County link we have created here, and I'm going to copy that structure. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going right down below where it says, here are my other links I like. I'm going one line down below, and I'm going to go paste, enter, paste. And if you want to do 3 times, you can. I'm going to do 3 times paste. So I have actually pasted that link 3 times. It's the same link 3 times. Okay. So I'm just going to see if it shows up. I'm going to go file, save. I'm chunking it. I'm doing a little bit. I'm going to save and refresh. And you can, if I scroll down, I can see those links. Now, you may be in a position saying, I don't like the spaces between those links right here. And so if I come down here and I'm going to switch these to like a BR, the first 2, instead of a P tag, the BR, so that's a single space, okay, in between them, and I save and refresh. All right, I now have those links. Oh, excuse me, I didn't do this right. All right, I now have these links nested much more together, and they're in a row, as you can see there, with no spaces in between them. So now I'm going to go in and try to manipulate each of them. Now, what I would have to do is obviously how can I get, Mr. Proctor, how can I get a link, and how can I change it? Okay, so I'm going to go to my browser. I'm going to maximize my browser real quick. I'm going to open up a new tab, and this is where you don't have to do the same URL address that I'm trying to capture. You can do another one. So I'm just going to do generic. Okay, I'm going to type in YouTube. Everybody goes to YouTube, right? So I'm going to go to YouTube and see what happens. I see the YouTube link there, and I think I'm not too sure, but I'm just going to click on the YouTube link, see what happens. Okay, so YouTube opens up. I'm going to go copy that control up there, copy that control. I'm going to go back to the split screen so I could see my code, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to go into paste. Okay, this area over here, I'm going to have to go into in between the quotation marks. Okay, so what you see here, I had up above that Prince William County address. However you want to do it, you can like highlight it and hit the backspace or delete. And then I did Control V, simply copied and pasted it right in there. I now have a YouTube link. Well, inside the A tag, it still reads PWCS. So you physically may want to type in, okay, and I'm going to do that, the word YouTube, okay? And so I physically typed in YouTube. Now, if you want to actually, some people do the address twice, all right? You can show the address of a link, or you can just type it in. So yeah, let me just do that again. I'm going to copy this to show you 2 different ways a link would manifest itself. And so if I copy that link again, YouTube, and I put it inside the A, so I have YouTube twice. One saying YouTube and the other actually giving me the URL address. Well, I may do something like this. Take out the http://www and just type YouTube. And maybe I can have it with a .com like that. So if I go file save, ladies and gentlemen, and I now go to my browser over here and refresh it, and let's look. So I have it representing twice. And yes, we need to click on this link. I'm going to right click and see if this link actually opens up. And apparently, give it a second, it does. It opens up good. So I'm going to go ahead and close out these 2 search engines. Okay, I'm going to maximize to myself, and I'm going to go +sign and say, hey guys, what is another potential link that you guys like to go to a lot? So what if I actually, any of your school emails, and I know I use Edmodo. Give me something. Give me one that you want to type in. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I can type in Facebook. All right, and see what happens. Okay, if I go Facebook and see what happens, you can see login procedure here. So I click on that login. I'm not too sure what's going to show up here. And Facebook is showing up. All right, so if I highlight that area and then let's go minimize, and I go into this third link down here, and I just simply paste it, and then I type over here to the right hand side, okay, as a social media website. Okay, Facebook, and I hit save, ladies and gentlemen, and I come over here to the left hand side and refresh. You can see then the link down below that is also giving me this link. So I want you to be creative. I have 4 right now here. 2 are the same. Try to give me in your activity. Try to give me some links. You're practicing trying to create links, links that here are other links that I like. Okay, so I'm giving you some sort of definition of trying to support some links there. So I'm going to move on to internal links here. So if you want to stop and pause this video and try to work a little bit more, be creative and test them out. Make sure they all are working. Okay, I'm going to move on now with internal links, and I'm going to be copying and some pasting below the end of internal links. But before I get started, I just want to review the web development file with this. And you can note here at this particular time, we only have 3 files. Okay, so we're somewhat limited right now with trying to have multiple internal links. Now, if we had like 6, 7, 8 different files here, then we would have a big family, a large pool of links we can go to. But long story short, I'm trying to link our 18 right now. I'm going to try to work with you to link 18 to 17 and link 18 to test drive, so you can practice how to do an internal link. Okay, so long story short, we're probably going to just establish 2 different links here. So getting back to the Notepad, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to be pasting right below the end external link. And I'm going to come over here to this internal link, okay, this internal link, and you can see it's much smaller, and there's only 1 link here. So if I highlight the approximately 4 or 5 lines that you see there, and I copy and I simply do a paste. Note that I have a couple P tags in here, which is giving me a double space, P tag here, which is giving me a double space, and another P tag, okay? Inside this, I said this internal link that I am learning about. So let's go ahead and quickly file and save and go to our browser. I'm gonna maximize this real quick and do a refresh. You should be able to see now, okay, at the bottom, you can see now, one thing I want to note with you guys, at least on mine, that my page, my scroll bar to the right is now functional. Okay, before, when we ended last class period, the scroll bar was not functional because our page or our table was not there. And notice how I told you that once your table starts, we start dumping information inside this table is going to build on itself. So it's becoming very relevant now that our table and our web pages, we're filling it up with information. But you can see this right here. This is internal link. And if I hover over this, what I'm trying to see if this file will go to the test drive file that we first established. So I'm going to click on that link. Boom, it did. So what transpired, if I go to my file folder here real quick, ladies and gentlemen, what's transpired is this file right here had the proper code to link to that test drive file, which was our very first test drive file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the backspace key, put myself back in a split screen, get back over to the code and just dissect it a little bit. Okay, it's the same process. One thing is different. Okay, and I'm going to clean this up. I like to have that equal sign. One thing is different here. There is no http://www. There's none of that. Okay, it is simply giving me the file name. because that file is resting in the same location. Now it gets a little bit more complex if you start having to take a file to go into a folder. Like you have folders and you have a file and you want to go into that folder to read that file. Then it's talking about file management, putting the backslash in the whole line of it. Like, for example, what you see up here, we may see a document and then programming and then web development. So that's that same philosophy that you would have to take if you're taking a file into a folder. We're not going there at a little bit higher level in terms of file management, but you can see here in that code, we do have a file called test drive in our same location. So let's see if you guys can try to create another link. And I'm going to copy this link. I'm asking you to copy this same link right down here, and I'm going to paste it down below. And I'm going to change this P to a BR, so it's giving me a single space in between it. But I want you to work what we just did. We have now two of the same links back to back over top of each other, all right? And so this test drive file right here, I want you to link it to example problem 17. So I'm going to go back to make it a little easier for you guys. I'm going to go back to 17, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to right-click, rename. I'm going to copy, because the verbiage has to be the same. Now I can physically look at it, it's a capital E followed by a number 17, but I'm simply going to copy that code right there and click away. So I know to copy the name. I did a Control C and I know I copied it exactly correct. I'm going to go in here and then delete test drive and do a paste. You now see I now have a link that says test drive example 17. All right, and over here, and instead of saying my test drive file, I'm going to say my test drive example 17. So the verbiage in the second link reads something like my test drive example 17. Let's see if that links work. So I'm going to go file save. I'm going to go refresh. I'm going to maximize my screen again. And I scroll down, and you should be able to see the two links down below. And I'm going to click on that second link there real quick. And boom, that does work, okay? It took me to that example problem of effectively. So coming back to this split screen, I did my test. And so to let you know, there's nothing fancy different than the external link versus the internal link, other than you do not need to support that http://www, because it's a link inside your own folder. Okay, so now that you guys I've gotten some internal links. I wish I can give you more internal links, but hopefully in this class you'll be able to experience more of that. I'm now going to be moving on with some more attributes to the links, how you can put some little bit more bells and whistle. And there's a lot of different attributes that you can do. We can even change the color from the default blue, and you can see the default blue. You can see the default blue are those default. And one thing about it that is they're blue, and once you click on it they turn red. But if maybe we could get into that and putting some font colors on them as well to change them to a different color as well. But I'm going to be moving on with some other logistics, okay? And that is link attributes, okay? Right now obviously our code has some sort of attributes to it. The A tag, that the href is an attribute of the anchor of the link. But as you can see here, I've given you kind of like a couple thin different yellow lines, okay? And so I'm going to be obviously going back up to our prior external links and supporting them. So you might have to scroll up a little bit with regard to that. So the first one I'm going to roll out is title. And to really explain what the attribute does, let's copy and paste and follow my technique, and I'll explain to you what's happening. So if I highlight this first sliver line that says title, and you can see how it says Prince William County Schools. So I'm going to copy that line, and I'm going to go all the way back up to that first link we had and which we changed and deleted Prince William County Schools and just had PWC. I'm going to go to the tail end. And really, it doesn't matter where you put these attributes. You can put them in front of the href hyperreference, or you can put them in the back. I'm just simply going to go to put them in the back by adding a space. I drew a space after the quotation. Okay, and then I'm simply going to do Control V. And what has happened? I have the Prince William County web address. I have the quotation. There is a space. That's important. You got to have that space, separation attributes. I then have the verbiage of title equals, and I have what is called Prince William County Schools. So let's see what goes on, making subtle changes. I'm going to go File, Save. I'm going to go to the Browser tab. I'm going to refresh that browser tab. Now, you may not see any changes to it right now, but I'm dealing with this, the Prince William County, the first link. If I put my mouse over it, you now see a drop-down box that'll stay there relatively like 5, 6, 7 seconds. And it helps users out to define what that actually acronym is, okay? So people may say, what does Prince William County, or what does PWCS? People outside this county may not know, right? Or anything. So if I hover over that, it gives you that verbiage inside the link. And I'm sure you guys may have seen that from time to time, like, other acronyms, IBM, FBI. I mean, those are some popular links that people very well may know. But I mean, you're reading a report, an online report, and you come across a link like this, and you're not too sure what it was. Hover your mouth over there, and a lot of times you'll see that drop down box. So let's do it. Let's do that again. Okay. Elsewhere, ladies and gentlemen, just simply looking at another link. Okay. So if I come into this programming, my programming, and I type, I'm just going to do a Control V, where I have, again, to maximize my code here, what I've done is I've taken the Prince William County my web page, or the web resource page, and I put title in there. And when you have programming, so you may like highlight, and I'm just going to be fancy here. It says my programming class. So I put 3 words inside the quotation. So again, I've gone down one link down below. I went to the right of the quotation marks. I have title equals my programming class, okay, which is in quotations. Notice how I still have the greater than sign. And some people, when they copy and paste and put stuff in there, they delete that greater than sign. It's important that you do not delete any of the less than or greater than sign. So if I simply save this file, I'm going to bring this back down into the split screen, and I refresh this page, and I come down here to the program, you should see a drop-down menu. Like if I hover over Battlefield High School, it's not happening because we don't have that attribute in there. But we now have supported that in 2 different places. Maybe try to do that with some of your external links that you have. Do another practice. If you want to stop the video and put the title tag somewhere else, please do so. But I'm going to move on. I'm back over here to the next one. We have Target. Now, this is kind of tricky, is because different browsers support different attributes. The Target, ladies and gentlemen, will allow us to open up a new window. By all means, we can right-click over a link, and we can have open link in new tab. Well, we can designate that with some simple attribute that'll support this. So sometimes some of these attributes don't work on one, and you can see how I have target blank, or target new, or target resource window. And I'm just going to ask you guys, let's just focus on target new. Target new is going to be launching, I believe, a new tab. So if I go into the target, and I'm going to isolate myself again, right in our first link to show you now we can support a third attribute. So I'm going to go to the right hand side of school in the quote, give me a space. I'm going to go Control V. I now have target new. All right, now I'm going to see if that will load up the Prince William County page. So if I'm going to go File, Save, all right? And I go back to the web resource page. I'm going to maximize this page real quick. Excuse me, my test drive, and I'm going to refresh it. And I'm going to hover my mouse over the Prince William County Schools, and I'm going to click, and boom, it did physically open up a new tab. So the link tells the browser to open up a new tab, which is a Prince William County School. So I'm going to simply close that one out. I'm going to put myself back in a split screen and come back over here and support that again. So I'm going to scroll down here to maybe the very last one. We had test drive 17, and I'm going to, ladies and gentlemen, add the target new to that test drive at the very bottom, just to put it in two different places. So I'm going to go File, Save. I'm going to go to my test drive and refresh. I'm going to scroll to where I think I see the test drive 17. I'm going to click on that, and physically it opened up a new tab. So that attribute works. Okay, so I'm going to proceed on. Again, I've given you maybe like 2 or 3 that may work on some browsers, that may don't work on another browser. The final one is style text hyphen decoration none. And this is a popular one. And folks, there's a lot of different attributes. I'm just scraping the surface and giving you like 3 that you can support in a link. This one right here, where it says none, will take off the underline of a link. So the link will look like a link, but it won't have an underline. So let's try this out. I'm going to highlight that whole sliver. I'm going to copy that line, style equals decoration. I'm going to go, once again, folks, I'm going to go all the way back up to the Prince William County one, because I want to put all of them, I want to put all the attributes in at least one link. And I'm putting a space. I have the word new, and I have quotes, and I added a space, and then I did Control V. And you can now see that I have style equal text decoration equals none. Decoration colon none is referring to none, no underline. That's the best thing I can tell you right now. So if I, again, save, if I save this notepad, I go into the test drive and I refresh this test drive, you should now see, if you look at Prince William County, you should now see Prince William County not being underlined. Let's put this in one more place so we can get exposure doing it at least twice. Okay, I'm going to come down to Battlefield High School, over the Battlefield High School link, and again, you should be able to see the Battlefield High School link. I'm going to do a 1 space after the quotation. I'm doing a Control V. I've now entered in that style decoration. Got to have a space in there right after the Battlefield High School. So I'm going to go save. I'm going to come back over to the browser. I'm going to refresh, and you should now see Battlefield not having a link. So if I come back to the notes, I think that concludes us with, I think, a generic 3 different links that support attributes that support links. And so I'm here in a few minutes, I'm going to be moving on with the email links. All right, now we're going to jump into working with email links or email link. I'm going to be isolating over here right below where we had the end internal link, going to be copying code. So I'm going to give you a couple more returns down below, all right? So I'm going to highlight this block of text right here. It's code that I'm giving you, and I'll talk to you shortly about it. And I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to go right below the end of internal links and copy and paste the email link. Okay, so we have a p tag, we have another p tag. That's basically giving those tags to hit return after those areas. And so I have a simple sentence that says this email link that I learned learning about. Okay, so let's dive in it before we do any of the changes. Just make sure it's showing up. So I'm going to go save. I'm going to go to my browser, and I'm going to go refresh, and I scroll down, and by all means, I can see something that says here, this is an email link that I'm learning about. You see, click here to email any question, email me any questions. Okay, so it's showing up. I'm not worried about clicking on it right now and see the actions that's going to take forth. But let me just look about, okay, here is the actual link. Everything else is text in between it. This is the actual link. And what I've done, long story short, I have provided you guys with my own personal email in this application. So I'm going to clean up again. I don't know why when I'm copying and paste, there is a space after in between the hyper reference and the equal sign. Clean that up by taking out that space if it's doing it for you. But instead of now seeing the HTTP : / we are now seeing something that says mail to. So the instance of this is the same, but when it reads mail to, the browser understands that there is going to be the attribute reads that there's going to be an email, and the browser is going to have to work with the email address that occurs. So for the practicality, I'm asking you guys to delete my email address and type in your own email. Let's just use your Prince William County email address in this instance, okay, in terms of typing that in. All right, so go ahead and do that. I'm going to proceed on. If you have to pause this video, go ahead and change that up and put your own email. I'm going to go ahead and save. All right, I'm going to save this and refresh it again. And let's see what happens when I click down here, down below that, when I click down below that link that says, click here. So if I click here, ladies and gentlemen, and let me discuss a little bit very well may happen. Your computer is unsure. Understand here, and you can see this window. Your computer is unsure what application you want to use to email that person, okay? So there is a little bit of understanding or interpreting an email link. You can see Outlook here, and you can see other tools that could potentially happen, okay? So sometimes you see these click here, and it opens up to a web page where you can have a text box. You can actually use a web page to type it in. But understand, for practicalities, a lot of times when you see an email address like this will open up, all right? Some people have, Gmail, some people are using Outlook, okay? So I'm not going to take it much further other than explaining to you the attributes that would be used to the email link, okay? So it's just the formality that I'm providing you with the proper structure with the email link. So I'm going to proceed on now with the page jump link and the page jump to. And this is a two-step process that you have to put code in two different places, okay? All right, so I'm going to put a link at the bottom here that says something like, click here to go to the top of the page, okay? And then we're going to have to put the page jump to identify that, okay? So just bear with me as we conclude here. So if I highlight this structure right here, moving forward, this is the page jump to, and I copy that, and I'm going to go right below the email link, and I paste it in there, okay? Simply paste it right in there. The link's not going to work, but let's see what happens. If I go File, Save, and I go right below to where we were at, and I go refresh, you should then be able to see a whole link here. It says, click here to go to the top of the page. So if I click there right now, nothing's happening because it doesn't know where to go. It hasn't given its command. So I'm going to go back and talk about the code here real quick. Again, we have a anchor, a link. We have a hyperreference, and we have a pound sign, an asterisk sign that says top of page. I could do any sort of verbiage. I could just use top. I can just use page. I'm making this relevant in using the three words top of page together. It doesn't matter. Whatever you type there, it doesn't matter. But where it's the link is looking for. The link is looking for that verbiage somewhere on this page. Okay. So to make this sound correct, let's go ahead and now go page jump to. So I'm copying the last block of text down here, and I'm going to scroll all the way up, folks. I'm scrolling all the way up on this particular page, and I'm going to go right below the title. Okay, I found the title. I'm going to go right below the title, right below that HR tag that we put. I'm going to put that in there. Now let's look at this. page jump 2. You see how we have an A tag here. It does not need to be supported with a closing tag with this page jump. But this name is an attribute, and it has the same verbiage top of page. That same verbiage, if I scroll all the way down, as the pound sign of the top of page down below. So now it can read this link. This is reading some sort of attribute on this page. So let's say this again. And if I go to our web page, I'm going to maximize my screen here for a second. And I'm going to refresh. And if I click on this link now, watch what happened. It takes me all the way up. Now, look what it took me. It took me right after this line. I'm going to scroll down there again. And it took me right to that first paragraph. But you don't see my page move. You don't see the title. So let's move this. Okay, I want to move this so it actually takes us to the very top. So I'm going to scroll up, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to highlight what we just did, copy it, and delete it, take it out. And now I'm going to put it right above. I'm going right above this title structure, right above the TD tag, and paste it. So I want this to take us all the way to the top. So if I go File, Save, and go back to the browsers, ladies and gentlemen, and scroll down to the browser, got to refresh it and click refresh and click top of the page. It then pushes us up. Now, folks, we can reverse this approach, okay, by having a link somewhere. You ever been on links up above here that you click on the link and it takes you to a different section? This is used all the time in web development, all right? So as I come back and try to conclude with you with these notes, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last step. I ask you to try to work around and change this up a little bit. But for you to get credit, you're going to have to submit example problem 18 in Canvas. This is basically what your page should look at this particular time. We started with the external links, and we went all the way. This is what we worked on today, all the way down to the very bottom, dealing with this page jump. So I hope you guys got something out of this, and look forward to continue working with you guys.